trade less often. Is that the key to getting rich in the stock market? Well, let's just talk about the most successful stock trader of all time, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett has always mentioned that the majority of his wealth has really only come from four stocks, one of them being Coca-Cola. Just, companies that pay dividends and that consistently grow over a long, long period of time. And Buffett made a speech a couple of years ago, and he was talking to college students about investing. And he said, he told the college students, imagine that you receive a punch card where there are only 20 punch holes in it, and those are the only trades you can make in your lifetime. He said, you'll probably be a better trader than 99% of the people out there. So his idea is that you should only make a handful of trades in your trading lifetime. Does the research support that? Well, Warren Buffett, he has been trading for 60 something years, and he's really only known for, when you consider how many stocks he's owned, like he said, he's only made the majority of his money from four stocks. So he's probably realized that you shouldn't trade a lot. Now, knowing that most of your profits will only come from a handful of trades, it's important that you do a lot of research before you make one trade. That it's better to do a lot of research before making a trade instead of just buying a bunch of stocks and hoping one of them will pop. And another thing you have to consider if you're just not going to trade very much is not to panic sell. If you buy a stock that you've done a lot of research and you believe in, and it falls 10 or 15% in a week, you just have to have faith that you did the right research and just hold on to the stock. And consider the fact your time frame is not 1 month or 1 year. It's more like 20 years or 30 years. So you have to think about, where's this stock going to be 20 or 30 years from now. Also, when you overtrade, you have to consider that you're going to be paying a lot in trading fees, which is known as slippage. So there are a lot of advantages to not trading very much, to just being very strategic. In fact, I want to talk about one investor in particular who turned $20,000 into $2 million in 3 years with only a handful of trades. His name is Chris Camillo. I've put a link to his Bloomberg video interview. And in the interview, he talked about how he turned the $20,000 into $2 million in 3 years. And get this, he did this in the years between 2007 and 2010. The year that we had the financial crash and then the incredible recovery. So that's probably one of the most difficult 3-year windows to turn, $20,000 into $2 million. So if you don't want to watch the Chris Camillo interview, I'll just recap what he said. Really, that first of all, Chris talked about he did a lot of research, and he also looked at what he saw were social trends. In fact, he started a company that monitors Twitter and looks at if certain companies or certain projects within a company begin to trend, to see if he can catch a trend before it's reflected in a stock price. And he gave an example of how he found one of his winning trades. He talked about he had a woman friend at work who talked about how she loved this book called The Hunger Games. And she said, oh, this book is the greatest book, and I heard it's going to be turned into a movie. And she was telling Chris, when this movie comes out, it's going to be the biggest movie ever. And Chris Camillo was like, I never even heard of this book. What is she talking about? And then he did some research. He found out about The Hunger Games. It's like every teenager read the Hunger Games book, and it was going to come out by Lionsgate Films. And Lionsgate Films, if you know this company, they're kind of known for sort of generic B movies, more like Lionsgate really made their money from like horror movies, I believe the Saw franchise. So they never really had a big Hollywood blockbuster trilogy. So Chris Camillo jumped on the Lionsgate film stock and bought the stock before any of the Hunger Games films came out. And then when they came out, he just made a killing from that Lionsgate stock. So in the interview, Chris Camillo also said that he makes no more than 1 or 2 trades a year. And I was really inspired by that. So even though I research a lot of stocks and I talk about a lot of stocks and stuff, my goal is for my speculative portfolio, where I only keep 4 to 5 stocks, is just to really only trade in that portfolio once or twice a year and just be very, very serious with being research-based. So one of the things I'm doing is I'm actually going to put, before I decide to buy any stock, I'm going to put at least 40 hours of research, which includes reading the annual report and gathering as much information as I can. So I hope this was very helpful for you about trading less to become rich. If you like this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, okay? See you in the next video. Bye.